What's going on, y'all? I'm back with another quick volume of Welcome to the Franchise. Just want to tap into a little bit more on NFL stuff that's been going on, some talks around it. Of course, you got the Combine coming up, a little bit of, free agency talk, and also a little bit of course, with the Combine, you got the draft, draft coming up, a lot of mock drafts coming out even more now. It's going to definitely be some more down the line sooner than later, as the draft will be in about a month or so, a month and some shade, basically 2 months actually, but it seems like it's gonna go quicker than that. So let me just tap straight into it. Some of the stories and talks around the combine that I've been seeing and hearing is some extensions for some players on their teams that should be coming up. I'm probably gonna be seeing some of those stories that so they say within the next couple weeks. One of the teams that came up as a most recently is the Niners, saying that they're gonna be extending Brock Purdy, which makes a lot of sense. They should definitely try and lock up their QB position, and work out a deal for him that makes sense, that works for him, but also still works for the team, because I think the Niners, they took a big step back last season, and I think they got to start doing some shit as far as free agency wise, if they can, taking care of the guys that they already got. They, some dudes got to get fed over there, and definitely got to take care of their business in the draft for sure, if they don't want to take too far of a step back and still stay in playoff contention like they've been for the past few years. Other story that I've seen is the Jets, with, it looks like, they could be gearing up to extend their young stars and Garrett Wilson and Sauce Gardner. So for the Jets, it makes sense in theory, as those players go into their fourth season. But, they're going into their fourth year. You want to extend them. Those are premium positions in the league that you need. You need a good number one receiver. You need a good number one corner. And they are going into this fourth year in their careers and never get into the postseason, right? So this shit right here, them never even making the playoffs and going forward with a new regime. It's going forward with a new regime and a bit of like, a remix on a rebuild. You can't call this a full-on rebuild here for the Jets and with Aaron Glenn here, but kind of a bit of a remix on a rebuild, right? My thing is this: with the history of the New York Jets and almost never getting their first round picks at skill positions, a second contract or whatever with the team, this is I'm kind of skeptical. I'm kind of skeptical of this, like, because on how shit could possibly go down in the near future, or down the line, you know what I mean, especially with the history of this organization and the history of all the organizations when it comes to New York sports, right? This could turn out to be something bad, even though it's a good look. Don't get me wrong. Like, yeah, you want to sign your guys that you drafted and they're good. You want to do that in any sport, especially in football. You want to keep your in-house players there that's been good, that you drafted. But it could turn out to be a bad situation, and with their players a good look, but maybe bad for the franchise and everything like that. Because here's my big thing. My big question here, right? Good luck on the extensions for both players, but for how much longer are they gonna be cool, you know what I mean, with playing for this franchise with no QB? Let's say they don't get any type of QB this draft or this off season or whatever, right? Now you got to draft next year for a QB. But what does that mean, right? That means you're going to be bad for another season to draft a top QB. And I'm not saying that's going to be the case. You could probably still fuck around and be a good team, be 10-7 again, or 9-8 again, or some shit like that, or 7-10 again, or some shit. Or maybe you might fuck around and make the playoffs, and you could pick somewhere between 16, 17 or 22 or some shit, and somebody might fall to you where you get a quarterback. So it's not all doom and gloom, all terrible for that scenario and shit. But you got no QB, or let's say you don't make the playoffs again next year, no playoff appearances and everything like that. for how long can these two type of personalities, right? Well, how Garrett Wilson is, he expects a lot from himself and he expects greatness. He wants to win. And then a dude like Sauce, however he be doing, last season was terrible. I guess it was one of those seasons where like, I don't feel like playing for real this time. It don't matter. I'm gonna just try and, do whatever and shit. Like, sometimes you seem engaged, and then sometimes you don't. You don't want to tackle, and then you're gonna try and get paid. You're gonna pay him all that money, and he don't get no interceptions. He don't flip the field. He don't take nothing back to the crib. First, hold on. Let's get back to step one. You don't even get your hands on the ball. Like, I'm talking about not deflection. I'm talking about get your hands on the ball to flip the field. Get a turnover. You can't even catch an interception. She's going to give you all that bread. Another season. No playoffs. At some point, and within the second year or going in the third year, those deals for both of them, they're going to get upset and they like to, not so much Garrett Wilson, but you could see you'll be able to see the frustration on his face and body language on the sideline when you watch him play if they don't make the playoffs, right? Next year or the year after that, right? But you're going to definitely hear for sure from Sauce and some little tweets and shit like that or whatever, little sub-tweets and whatever games he like to play with that, right? They're not going to want to be in New York no more, not going to the playoffs and fucking losing. So then you pay him that, you do that deal, and then you got to fucking trade them because they're going to try and force their way out. That's something that you can see going on because it happens all the time with these New York sports franchises and shit, but my thing is just that for how long are they, even after they get the deal, for how long are they going to be happy and want to stay with either A, no playoff appearance, or for someone like Garrett Wilson, no real quarterback, no true quarterback, if, big if here, fingers crossed and all that, which this is what they're going to have to go with, the philosophy and the mindset that Jordan Travis is the quarterback of the future for right now. We'll see how shit shapes out, but for right now, they're going to have to go with the mindset and prepare like Jordan Travis is the quarterback of the future. Because other than that, they're fucked. You know what I mean? And even if not, even if they get in a good position to draft one next year, they know how to fuck up that pick bad. We seen that twice and probably 3 times over with them, in the recent years. So they know how to fuck up that position bad. So that's more losing, more missing the playoffs, more looking like a clown show to the media, to the NFL sports media, to the New York sports media. And how much longer can they deal with that? You know what I mean? On top of dealing with bad ownership, which is funny because it ties me into next. This the same organization and team and everything like that their players gave the owner an F on whatever survey they had or whatever with the players of all the teams. They gave their owner an F on the survey for the franchise and organization. Like, with that being said, not gonna lie, this shit already looking bad for both sides. But we'll have to fucking see. We'll have to see on that down the line. 2 good players. It will be a good look, like I said, on their part to get the extensions. It's still a good look in theory for the organization, but we know the history of how this organization rolls. We know that shit. And then with this survey also, it's just like, it's a little bit of a preview or foreshadowing on what might be down the road to fucking come. Like we've seen over and over again with these motherfuckers. So I'll just leave it at that. Now, following this, just some quick thoughts real quick on a preview to potential free agency fits on that have come to my mind, realistic or not realistic. Staying on the Jets real quick to get this out the way. Near impossible for any free agent with a brain. It would be impossible to see this shit happen. Although, motherfucker like Aaron Glenn might really get shit lit. So we'll see. But Jevon Holland at safety and Rasul Douglas at corner for the Jets in free agency. I think that would be a good look. They need both of those positions for sure. They need a starting safety, ball hawking safety, who's also pretty sound, got good range, but can also make plays when he needs to in the running game, but will make plays on the ball, flip the field. I don't see a person that's played for the Dolphins his whole career and playing against the Jets going over there. And like I said, any free agent with a brain, knowing how terrible that organization is, even though, like I said, it's just a new regime, it's a little remix on a rebuild and everything. Aaron Glenn might get shit lit. You know, not totally out of the question, but yeah, that'd be a position they need. Same thing with probably a veteran corner with DJ Reed most likely out the door. Rasul Douglas would be a strong replacement there to pair with Sauce Gardner. Also teach Sauce Gardner a few things about tackling and really trying to get your hands on the ball and being physical receivers. Other than that, Jevon Holland maybe. I don't know if it's realistic for them as far as the salary cap wise, but Jevon Holland maybe going to be more. Maybe both of them also going to be more, if that makes sense cap wise for either of them. Or Holland going to the Jags. I think they need a safety. And Rasul Douglas, yo, get back with the pack, man. You had a good season there. They need some corners and shit. Get back with the pack. They're gonna be in contention. I'm pretty sure both of these dudes want to get on a team that's actually in playoff contention or whatever. I just said the Jets at first because they need those positions there. And it could be exciting if Aaron Glenn is able to get them on board. If he wants to win now, like he said, we expect to win now. You got to get players like that, but don't see that happening, although it would be a good look. But maybe Holland either with Baltimore, the Jags may be loading up to at least be a wild card. And Douglas, I'm pretty sure he wanna, if he ain't gonna go back to the Bills, go back to the Pack. They're gonna be in the playoffs. Following that, guy like Chris Godwin, I can see him being a good fit with the Pittsburgh Steelers. They need a number 2 or a more solid hand, a solid person at receiver if he stays healthy. I think that would be a good look. Or maybe even Buffalo if they don't trade for somebody like DK Metcalf or some shit like that. Because I think there may be a couple, maybe three or four crazy trades in the NFL this offseason. But if not, like I said, him going to Buffalo if they don't trade for DK. Or the Chargers. Chargers would be a good look for him also, just to give him a nice little complimentary role-playing number 2 there. You let McConkey and whoever else go off, and they really focus on the run game and everything. Just a good short hand for Justin Herbert, the Chargers. And then following that, I'll go with Khalil Mack with Buffalo. Maybe he signs with Buffalo. You know, it's where he played college ball at and everything. But that's if they don't go for a big swing and make that Myles Garrett trade. That would be a good look. Or for Khalil Mack, for him, he probably got some choices there between Detroit and Green Bay. Who's going to get him first? Either way, that'd be a good look for him also if Detroit doesn't trade for Myles Garrett. I don't think Green Bay is going to do that. I know I said that before in the previous video. Maybe that would be a good look for them to trade for him. But the Packers really like to draft. That's their culture. That's what they do. If anything, they'll sign a free agent and everything, a veteran free agent at that position. But they like to draft, so that's out of the question. But if they could sign someone, an older vet like Khalil Mack, sign him, not have to trade for him, it's going to be between them and Detroit maybe, So if Detroit doesn't trade for Myles Garrett, they'll go for him. And Green Bay should definitely consider that. Following that on another pass rusher here, Josh Sweat. Josh Sweat coming off of the big performance he had in the Super Bowl with the Eagles, and he's been a guy that's been popping out for the last 3 seasons or so with the Eagles and shit. If he don't stay there, and I think he's probably gonna be priced out unless they cut someone else, or I don't know, whatever moves they would make the Eagles. But Josh Sweat to the Bears would be a good look. They could use a pass rusher there if they want to gear up for trying to actually make the playoffs or be a team to be like, yo, y'all got to watch out for us and be someone to fuck with. Or Tampa Bay. Josh Sweat to Tampa Bay. I think that would be a good look, as Tampa Bay is still a playoff caliber team, and I think they're going to be loading up to try and make a deeper run in the playoffs next season. But they need a pass rush off the edge. They need that shit, because that's one thing I noticed about the Bucs. Is like sometimes I'm just like, damn, yo, how these motherfuckers still in these games and they not getting no pass rush from the edge? They'll get pass rush from the young boy Kalisha Cansey at D tackle, and sometimes in the middle. I notice every now and then, but off the edge, it takes a long time for them. It's not really getting enough off the edge there, so that wouldn't be a bad deal for him to cash in on and really be the top dog on the line coming off the edge. And then my last guy here, which I can't believe that the Niners would be in a position to really let him walk and go. You know, he had a really tough year, tough season on and off the field. And I want to see him doing this thing again, as I know he's still capable of doing, but Charvarius Ward, right? And I'm pretty damn sure he want to be on a contending team also. I know that shit for a fact. He got that mindset and that mentality. He's always played with that tenacity since he's with the Chiefs, and definitely when he's with the Niners. But Charvarius Ward, man, the Rams, they could use maybe an extra corner. They got some young boys over there, but they could use a corner that's ready to get to it. Out there, where I think is Weatherspoon back there again, Killer Weatherspoon, or the Lions. The Lions, Carlton Davis, I'm pretty sure he's gonna be a free agent, but they could use someone with the championship mindset and has the experience on them runs to play out there opposite of Terrion Arnold while you got Branch in the slot. Pittsburgh, if not any of those, Pittsburgh, maybe they want another person across from Porter. But the Bills, they could use some corner help, because they couldn't depend on no Kyer Elam as their first round pick when he came in as a reserve in the playoffs. You know, and their defense kind of taking a couple steps back, even though I still feel like their defense is solid, still a good defense. The Bills, I think the top for that shit, the Bills, Lions, or the Rams. Wouldn't be a bad look for him. That'd be a good look for all those teams, for both him and the teams there as free agency fits. But that's going to wrap this one up for now. I'm going to probably try and get into a few more free agency fits and everything, when it comes to what's going to be going on, the players that'll be available, and tap into a little bit more of the draft as well. But that's going to wrap this up for me right now. For Welcome to the Franchise. Y'all out there, be easy.